Introducing World Readiness Standards for Learning Languages, which prepares students to share and connect in the multi-bilingual world. Actfl, which stands for American Council on the Teaching of Foreign Languages, implements standards for language that focuses on literacy, real-world applications, and 21st century skills. These standards guide learners to show comprehension in the targeted language that they are learning in schools, followed by a set of goals and standards. The 5 main goal areas, which are referred to as the 5 C's, are communication, cultures, connections, comparisons, and communities. Each of these goal areas have specific standards that describe the abilities students should obtain throughout their language education. On the next slides, I will be explaining the goal areas and standards to help children excel in their second language. To begin, communication is the main focus to learning a new language. Interpersonal communication. Learners interact and negotiate meaning in spoken, signed, or written conversation to share all kinds of emotion. This encourages the learner to obtain information from others and also allows the learner to share from within. Interpretive communication. Learners interpret and analyze what is heard, read, or viewed on different topics. This helps learners speak, write, and listen. Presentational communication. Learners present information, concepts, or ideas. This adapts students to present to different audiences, showing what they know, and which can also indicate a sample performance placement. The goal area of culture includes relating cultural practices to perspectives. Learners use the language to investigate, explain, and reflect on the relationship between cultures studied. Relating cultural products to perspectives. How cultural perspectives influence practices in the targeted language. This influences the learner to create personal investigations to create a connection with diversity. It also disciplines how cultural perspective influence the practice of the language, which is very important when learning. Connection. Making connections. Learners build and expand knowledge to develop critical thinking and solve problems creatively. Acquiring information and diverse perspectives. Learners access and evaluate information within language and its cultures that can connect to different subject areas in school. Connections to history that you can acquire information through the language. Connection deepens knowledge and helps connect to many subject areas in school to allow deeper understanding. Comparison. Language and cultural comparison. Learners use language to investigate, explain, and reflect on the nature of the language through comparisons of their first language. This allows to investigate, explain, and reflect on aspects of the language to understand how cultures have an influence on diverse practices. This helps with the interaction of cultural competence from a heritage speaker. Lastly, communities. These standards are pretty straightforward. School and global communities. Learners use the language taught beyond the classroom to interact with their community and the globalized world. Lifelong learning. Learners set goals and reflect on their progress to make meaningful connections to the world. This allows the promotion to studying around the world, joining clubs, and creating personal relationships which can influence how you use the second language every day. Communities push the participation in the multilingual communities around the world, not only for academic purposes, but for enjoyment and to enrich the globalized world. Thank you, and I hope everyone that is learning a second language implements the 5 C's to ensure excellence.